This video will be deleted in 30 minutes. I don't know how to enable comments or live comments or any of that for Google Hangouts, so you're just gonna have to listen to me say what I have to say. The video is going to be deleted again in 30 minutes, so people mirror it and you'll be able to comment there. So, why did you trust her? That's the question everybody has been asking me. And, well, I guess this hangout is a bit of a misnomer because I didn't trust her. I worked with her, or I tried to work with her. But, you know, if you watch Noel Plum's video, you'll know how that worked out. But why even approach her? And in general, why do I approach the community that seems to have a predilection for doing this sort of thing? Why do that? Why even give them the benefit of the doubt? Why do that shit? I mean, are you retarded? Do you not know what she did to Thunderfoot? Do you not know about the other shit that she was doing? And of course I knew, and I condemned it. I hated it. And it's difficult for me to express in a manner that's, I guess, I don't know, adequate for a scientifically minded person. Which is weird because that's kind of me, but I feel like the best way to express my feelings toward this, what I was doing and why I was doing this, I think it can be best expressed with this tweet that J.K. Rowling recently sent out. And it was actually an extended tweet. It's going to be a little long. I'm going to be reading it. Now it's going to be sort of the bulk of this whole thing. It's called "Why Dumbledore Went to the Hilltop." If you know nothing about Harry Potter, this is all going to sound like gibberish to you, so you might as well just quit out. Ditto for those of you who have no idea what this is about. This is just some bullshit drama. Don't worry about it. Science videos are coming later. This is just crap, so don't worry about it. So, this is what she wrote, and she was writing about the Israeli cultural boycott and why she opposed it. So I'm going to read what she wrote, and I'm gonna ask you to try to apply these principles she's talking about to the situation that took place. Maybe then there'll be a little bit better insight as to why I did what I did. And again, the title of this is "Why Dumbledore Went to the Hilltop." So, here we go. I've received a lot of messages over the past few days that use my fictional characters to make points about the Israeli cold cut. This isn't a complaint. Characters belong to the readers as well as to me, and each has their own life in the heads of those who have read them. Sometimes the inner lives of characters, as imagined by readers, are not what I imagined for that, but the joy of books is that we all make our own mental cast. I've always enjoyed hearing about versions of Potter characters that exist in heads other than mine. Many of the messages I've received in the last few days have included variations on the theme, "Talking wouldn't stop the Wizarding War," and as far as that goes, it's true. Talking alone would not have stopped the Wizarding War, and talking alone didn't. Voldemort believed that non-wizards were subhuman, so it's valid to draw comparisons between Voldemort and any real human being who regards other races, religions, or sexualities as inferior. It would indeed have been a fool's errand to try and talk Voldemort or Bellatrix Lestrange into laying down their wands for love of their fellow humans. They have no love of humanity, and they wanted domination, not peace. Above, and I stand by it, that every reader has the right to his or her own version of my characters. However, there is one central point about the Potter stories that is not negotiable. We can't pretend that it isn't there, or that it doesn't matter, when it is the crux of the books and, in many ways, the key to the story. It is also a point that, to my knowledge, I get a lot of messages, so I cannot swear to it, has been lost in the many comparisons of Israel to Death Eaters. In the final book, Deathly Hallows, when many hidden things come to the surface, there is a scene on a windy hilltop. Dumbledore has been summoned by a Death Eater, Severus Snape. At that point, Snape is a subscriber to the inhuman philosophy of Voldemort. He is probably a killer, certainly a betrayer of two of the people Dumbledore loved most, and the man who had sent Voldemort after an innocent child in the knowledge that Voldemort would kill him. Again, to my knowledge, my memory isn't infallible, so forgive me if you did, nobody has ever asked me, why did Dumbledore go when Snape asked him to go, and why didn't he kill him on sight when he got there? I think readers assume that Dumbledore is wise enough, knowledgeable enough, and compassionate enough to sense that Snape, though he has led a despicable adult life, has something human left inside him, something that can be redeemed. Nevertheless, wise and prescient as Dumbledore is, he is not a seer. At the moment when he answers Snape's call, he cannot know that Snape isn't going to try and kill him. He can't know that Snape will have the moral or physical courage to change course, let alone help defeat Voldemort. Yet still, Dumbledore goes to the hilltop. I'm going to digress very slightly here, but there is a related point that bears making. Among the messages drawing parallels between the Potter books and Israel have been quite a few saying that Harry would be disappointed or Harry wouldn't understand my position. Those people are right, but only up to a clearly defined point. The Harry of 6.5 books might not understand. Harry is reckless and angry for a considerable portion of those 6.5 books, and he has my wholehearted sympathy. He has lost his family, he has had burdens put upon him that he never wanted, and he has been stigmatized all through his adolescence for carrying a scar left on him by a killer. There comes a moment in the final book, though, when Harry, whose natural inclination is to fight, to rush to action, to lead from the front, is forced to stop and consider the cryptic message the dead Dumbledore has left him. Unfortunately, this message runs counter to everything that Harry believes is necessary to win the war. He wants to race Voldemort to a deadly weapon, but Dumbledore has arranged things so that, while Harry will know that the weapon exists, he will also suspect that taking the weapon is the wrong thing to do. Harry cannot understand why using that weapon would be harmful, yet, grudgingly, he decides to act against his own instinct, and according to what he believes are Dumbledore's wishes. The decision sits uncomfortably with him. He remains doubtful about it, almost up to the point where he comes face to face with Voldemort for their final encounter. Unlike Harry, Dumbledore was not acting against his own nature when he chose to meet Snape on the hilltop. Dumbledore, remember, is not a politician. The Ministry is weak and corrupt. It enabled Voldemort's rise and is now doing a poor job of fighting him. Dumbledore is an academic, and he believes that certain channels of communication should always remain open. It was true in the Potter books, and it is true in life, that talking will not change willfully closed minds. However, the course of my fictional war was forever changed when Snape chose to abandon the course on which he was set, and Dumbledore helped him do it. Theirs was a partnership without which Harry's willingness to fight would have been pointless. The Palestinian community has suffered untold injustice and brutality. I want to see the Israeli government held to account for that injustice and brutality. Boycotting Israel on every possible front has its allure. It satisfies the human urge to do something, anything, in the face of horrific human suffering. What sits uncomfortably with me is that severing contact with Israel's cultural and academic community means refusing to engage with some of the Israelis who are most pro-Palestine and most critical of Israel's government. Those are voices I'd like to hear amplified, not silenced. A cultural boycott places immovable barriers between artists and academics who want to talk to each other, understand each other, and work side by side for peace. I believe in the power of projects like, and she starts listing these different projects, these international projects that were academic and artistic. And then she goes on and says, I think it is a tragedy when medical research like this, and she provides an example, is prevented. I genuinely don't take it in ill part when you send me counter-arguments framed in terms of the Potter books. All books dealing with morality can be picked apart for those lines and themes that best suit the arguer's perspective. I can only say that a full discussion of morality within the series is impossible without examining Dumbledore's actions, because he is the moral heart of the books. He did not consider all weapons equal, and he was prepared, always, to go to the hilltop.